Hi everybody, welcome to another video in the Discrete Math section 8.5, Inclusion, Exclusion. So, the number in the union is equal to the number in each individual set minus the overlapping. That is very simple. If we just draw a Venn diagram, let's represent this set by A and this set by B. Now we count everything in the set B, so we select every region of B, so that, and now we have A, every region in A. But when we do that, this region we count twice, so we have to take out one of them. So that's why we have to subtract the overlapping. That makes perfect sense. Right. Let's look at some example. In Discrete Math, every student is major in computer science or math or both. The number of students having computer science major maybe with mathematics as well, 25. Number of mathematics major maybe with computer science is 13, and the number of both is 8. Right. So we have computer science major, and then math. Right. Now for this type of problem, we go with the smallest number. We know that the number student that major in both is 8, so we start with 8. The overlapping. Next, for computer science there are 25, but out of those 25 possibly some of them in math as well, so actually 8 of them. So we have 25 minus 8, that is 17 in computer science. And in math, there are 13 minus the 8, that's overlap, it's going to be 5. Right, so if we count how many students in class, 15, 17 plus 8 plus 5, so that's 30. If we don't draw the Venn diagram, we can use this. The number of computer science or math equal to the number of computer science plus the number of math, subtract the overlapping. Right, computer science there 25, 13 math, minus 8, that is both. That 28 minus 8, that 30. So either way, we have it. Right, next. Result of a survey of 50 students indicate that 30 like red and 29 like green and 17 like both. How many students surveyed only liked jelly bean, red jelly bean? Right, so what we have is red and then green. And then we start with 17 that like both. And with that, there are 30 like red jelly bean. Of course, that including the overlap 17. So to do that, we take 30 red jelly bean, subtract the 17 that, 30 that like both. 30 that like red, subtract 17 that like both. We have 13. And the question asks how many only like red, so that would be 13. Red only, that would be 13. Right, so that is inclusion. Exclusion. In this case, we just draw a Venn diagram. We don't have to find the rest of the problem. The only one, how many that like the red jelly bean. So that is when we have 2 sets. Now what happens if we have 3 sets? Well, let's do the counting again. Again, for every region we put 1 dot in. So 1 dot here, 2, 3, and 4. 1, sorry, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And the red, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Right. Now, so we count how many we have, how many dots, how many regions do we have here. So first we have all the dots, and then just like we take every 2, we're going to take this one out because that's overlapping. We're going to take one more this, one more of this, one more of this. But when we take all the overlapping, let's say all the overlapping of these 2, we actually, okay, now red and blue, we take red and blue, red and green, red and green, and green and blue. So actually we take out all 3 dots in the middle, because right, so this we take out 2 here, 2 here. For those 2 will be 2 here and 2 here, and for these 2 there will be 2 here and 2 there. So we took out everything in the middle. That's why we have to add one of the middle back. So in that case, subtract all the 2 and plus the one that have 3. Right, now with that, go to this one. A total of 1,232 students have taken the course in Spanish, 879, French, 114, and Russian. Right, so, and we have the total of taking at least one. So we said Spanish, French, or Russian. Spanish, French, or Russian. Minus, now we have 2. At intersection. And minus the one that have all, plus the one that have all 3. Right. I'm trying to fill out everything we have. We have 2,092, and then 132 Spanish, 879 French, 114 Russian, 103 Spanish and French, 23 Spanish and Russian, and 14 Russian and French. And how many taken all 3 of them? Of course, just so for X. So this one strictly we just use the formula. If I write everything correctly, right? So we have that much minus the one that takes Spanish, Actually, move to the other side, that will be a plus. Add to the other side, that will be a plus. And the 14 to the other side as well. Right, let's recap. 2092, subtract 3 number. And add those 3 number. And we have 8. So that 8 students will take all 3 foreign languages. Right, now the next one, we will draw the Venn diagram for this. Right, so local television station has sent out questionnaires, and so they have documentaries, interview show, and reruns. Documentary, interview show, and rerun. Right. There were 800 response. 240 interest in an interview, show, and a document, but not rerun. So that with too many things here. So we know 64 interest in all 3 of them. So we start with the mod inside. 64 interest in none of them on the outside here. 48 interest in interview, show, and rerun. And 80 interest document review. Right. So try to put those numbers in here. 240 in an interview, show, and documentary, but not rerun. Right. So then we'll just go with the smaller number. First, 48. 48 is interview, show, and rerun. Interview, show, and rerun is 48. Interview, show, and rerun. So 48. Right. Next, 80 documentary and rerun. Documentary and rerun. That 80. And 192 interview but not documentary. Interview but not documentary. And 32 interest in interview, show. Wait, 32 interest in interview and rerun, but not documentary. So that was okay. Let's see. 32 were interested in interview, show, and rerun, but not documentary. So this is 32. So that part is 32. No, 48 minus 32. So this part here. $48 minus 32, that's 16. Right. So 48 is interview, show, and rerun. So that is the overlapping here. But subtract the 32 is interview and rerun. but not documentary, so we have to take that out. Right. Next, the 80 is documentary and rerun. Documentary and rerun is this, but we have to take out the 16. So this part here is 80 with documentary and rerun. 80 minus 16, 64. So that is 64 here. Right. We need to have this. 112 interest in rerun, but not in the view show. Rerun, but not in the view show. So that included this. $192 in the view show, but not documentary. So to subtract the documentary, have in the view show, and this set to be in the view show. Sorry, I underlined wrong one. In the view show, but not documentary. So this is 192. Subtract the part that is here, 160. We still don't have that part. And 112 is in rerun, but not in the view show. So we're going to have 112 minus the 64 here. 48. Right? Because that is 112 in rerun, but not in the view show. So we have that. Take out the 64 here, that's 48. And then we still have those number. 240 interest in the view show and documentary. So that kind of like the whole MasterCard here, but not rerun. So exactly we're talking about that big MasterCard, but not rerun. So subtract. So that's what we have here. So that is 240. Yeah. Oh, we have to take 240. Subtract the 160. So that is 80. Now problem is 80 is going to be both that and that. Right. So the one is 16. Okay. 240 is documentary interview show, but not rerun. So we have to take all of that out, not rerun. So that's 240 minus the 160 on this side. And we still need to have the overlapping here. So having the 64. Right, let's check again. 64 we haven't used. So if we had 800 minus 64, that's 736. Now take 736, we subtract every region. We should have it. Right. Now let's check all these numbers again. 240 individual but not rerun. So that's good. Let's go with the double check from the beginning. 48 individual and rerun. Individual and rerun. So those MasterCard. And 64 non-row. So that check. 48 individual and rerun. 80 32 individual and rerun. Individual, so focus on this two. Interview and show and rerun. But this one not documentary, so I have to take out the documentary. So the 32 is the all three of them. Is this one, and subtract the 32, we have 16 is all three of them. That's correct. And now we have those two. 192 individual but not documentary. And so that 192 subtract 32, 160. So that's good. And 111 interest in reruns but not an individual. So not individual rerun. So that's only 48. And the one that said 80 is the documentary but with rerun. And so that subtract the 16 on 3, so that's 64. So that's good. So that check as well. And then we have 112. That interesting rerun but not individual. So 112 minus 64, that's 48. That's right, 160, 48. We just need to have this part here. Okay. Actually, we looked wrong. Okay, 240 interest individual and rerun and documentary. Interview and documentary but not rerun. So actually we're going to take 240 minus the overlap pin of 16. So that gives us 214. And 24, sorry, 224. 224 actually it will be this one. And now we just look for the about documentary. Okay. Now we have 800 total minus a 64. That it will be in 3 of this. 800 minus 64, right? And we're going to minus 48 minus 64 minus the overlapping of 16 minus the 32 minus the 224 minus the 160. We have 192. And if we want one kind of show, 192 plus 48 plus 160. do the math again to make sure it's correct. 800 minus 64 minus 48 minus 64 minus the overlapping of 03 16 minus 32 minus 224 minus 160 192, and which is exactly one kind. 192 plus 48 and plus 160. That's 400. Okay. 240 in the view show and documentary, but no rerun. Actually, no rerun. So in the view show and documentary, actually that's no subtract here. So that 240 is exactly that. Sorry. So that would be 240 is that. So 176. Sorry. And so we have 176 that only like documentary, 160 only like interviews, and 48 only like rerun. So 384. Right. So in this case, the Venn diagram actually help, and we usually start with the smaller number first, and then if it's not working, go to something else. Combine those clues, and then we have the region. For example, we go with the 32 first. It said individual and rerun, but no documentaries. So that's why we have that part. Right, and we just keep going. But anyway, with that we finish section 8.5. Thank you for watching, and see you in another video in this week, man.